Okay, recording has started. Let me share my screen.
Excuse me, ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
I'd like to inquire. I don't have English in practice or academic purposes. Is it fine if I can also join the full-time students and write on the 19th?
If you want to write during the full or in the full-time slot, I'm not quite sure what time that is.
It's at
I'm
2
going to have,
p.m.
yes, you're welcome. You're
All
welcome.
right.
That's not an issue.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. Any students that want to write with the full-time students on the 19th, can you hear me? Paulina is claiming she can't hear me. Is the problem with Paulina or with the rest of you? Just give me a thumbs up quickly if you can hear me.
We can hear you, ma'am.
Okay, Paulina, then it's your connectivity. Maybe you're going to need to just log out and log back in again. Thanks, Melrose, as well. Yes, so if there are students that don't have English and want to write then at 2 o'clock with the full-time students, you are welcome to do so. However, and I know the students that are currently in this class in front of me are honest. But not all, not all students are always honest. You can only write the test once. I will be setting 2 different tests. It's not going to be the same test, but obviously there will be overlaps. And they will be of the same standard. You can only write the test once. Don't think you can write it twice in an effort to get maximum marks. So if you decide to write on the 19th, your marks for the test of the 19th will be recorded. If you then write again a week later and do better, I will ignore those marks. Nadeshna, I'm sure that's not what you had in mind. I'm just putting it out there. That
No,
you
no,
can't,
I'm away.
yeah. You can't write as many times as you like and hope for and see and have me choose your highest marks. But then nobody in this class that's actually attending class at the moment would have contemplated doing something like that. The students that try to cheat their way into a pass mark don't normally attend class. Students that attend the online classes faithfully and regularly like you do pass on your own merit, not because of academic dishonesty. Okay, just the thumbs up again quickly. Can you see the slides? Just confirm that you can see the slides. Thank you. Okay, so this particular unit, Unit 6, if you look at your course outline, it says Unit 6 omit. We don't do Unit 6. Unit 6 is out. You don't have to even look at it. So moving on then to Unit 7. Unit 7 is about this very fundamental aspect of company law that I have referred to right from the very start. The fact that what makes a company unique is the division of corporate functions, the division between ownership on the one hand and management on the other hand, your shareholders versus your board of directors. So in Unit 7, we briefly, it's a very short unit, but we look at that in a little bit more detail. Internal relations in a company. How do things work in a company? Learning objectives, always remember to go back to them once you finish the unit. So, organs of a company. It is said in a company, you should be aware of this, there are numerous role players, people that do things in a company. Some of these are designated as organs of the company. And the others will merely be functionaries, people that do a job. It is said that when an organ of a company acts, it is as if it is as if it is the company itself that is acting. Now, we have two organs, the board of directors on the one hand, and the members in general meeting on the other hand. Why do I say members in general meeting? Because I'm referring to the members acting as a collective. Why do I say board of directors? Because once again, I'm not referring to individual directors. I'm referring to the directors acting as a collective. These are like the brains and the heart of the company. Then there are numerous other functionaries as well. Individual directors, perhaps a chief executive officer, a company secretary, etc., etc. These functionaries can be compared to the legs and the arms of a company. Company can, or a human being can exist even if they're missing a leg or even if they're missing an arm. But they cannot exist without a brain and a heart. A company cannot exist without its organs, without a board of directors, without the members in general meeting. Company belongs to the members, to the shareholders. Remember, we use members, shareholders as synonyms. Board of directors manage the company. But now the question that arises is, can the members in general meeting, the shareholders as a collective, can they instruct the directors what to do? Can they instruct the directors how they should manage the company? That is the central question that we look at in this particular unit. Now, going back, pointed out to you on numerous occasions that company law is very, very old. Another old court case, 1935, so that's nearly 100 years ago. John Shaw versus Peter, John Shaw and Sons versus Peter Shaw and John Shaw. You don't need to remember the name of the court case. We'll never ask you that. You have to remember the central principle that was decided in the John Shaw case. In the John Shaw case, the ruling was that the general body of shareholders cannot themselves usurp the powers by which by the articles are vested in the directors, any more than the directors can usurp the powers vested in the articles in the general body of shareholders. Big English words there. What does this mean? It means that the articles of association sets out how the company must be managed and what the powers of these individual organs are. And both these organs are bound to whatever is stated in the Constitution, in the Articles of Association. If the Articles of Association vest the management of the company in the directors, the shareholders cannot take over that function. If the articles, however, keep some residual powers, reserve some residual powers for the shareholders, for example, that certain types of transactions have to be authorized by the shareholders, the board of directors are similarly bound to that and cannot ignore the decisions of the shareholders. Another slide, just setting this out in explaining this, using slightly different words, the role of the Articles of Association, the board of directors and the general meeting are the two organs of the company, each with their own original powers derived from the Constitution. Unless there is a provision in the Constitution providing for this, even a unanimous means 100%, a unanimous resolution of the general meeting does not override the director's powers. So even if every single one of the shareholders agree that they should instruct the directors to do A, B, and C, they cannot do that. They do not have the powers to instruct the directors what to do. Management decisions remain management decisions. How do we know in a particular company what are the powers of the directors? What residual powers have been retained for the shareholders? It will be matters falling within the exclusive jurisdiction of each of these organs have to be determined by reference to the articles. The articles will set this out. However, the shareholders remain the owners of the company. So even if there is this division of corporate powers, that does not mean that the shareholders have no control over how their property is managed. There's always still a measure of control left to the individual or to the shareholders, not individual shareholders, shareholders acting as a collective, in the sense, the most basic sense, that if they are not happy with how the board of directors is managing their property, the Company Act, and we will in a couple of units' time get there, the Company Act itself provides for them to take steps and to remove the directors. So if they don't like the directors, they can fire them. Companies Act, however, it's not as clear-cut as that. Companies Act provide that a company must have directors. You cannot have a company without directors. So the shareholders can fire the directors, but immediately at the same meeting, they have to replace them with a new board of directors that will have the same independent powers. Articles of Association can also retain a measure of decision-making not decision-making power, but power of approval to the shareholders, provisions stating that certain types of transactions or certain transactions in excess of a certain amount of money have to be approved by the shareholders. It will not, however, be feasible for the shareholders in the Constitution to try to control the board too much by reserving too wide of approval powers for them. That will ultimately hamper the functioning of the company. The board of directors is designed to manage the affairs of the company, and they need a certain degree of independence. Companies Act does, however, provide for 3 limited instances where the shareholders may intervene and basically take over the functions of the board of directors. Firstly, if there is a need to institute legal action on behalf of the company and the board of directors refuses to do this, this will normally arise in instances where the directors themselves have been doing some funnies and have been costing the company money. And obviously, they're not going to want to take themselves to court in order to recover this money from themselves. In those instances, shareholders can step in and institute the necessary legal action. Second instance where the general meeting may intervene is if the board of directors is unable to exercise their powers. If there's a deadlock, for example, they can't agree between themselves, or if no quorum is obtained, or if the board of directors has done something which can be set aside because they abuse their powers, then the shareholders can set in. But those are the only instances where the Companies Act authorizes the shareholders to directly take control of the company. Otherwise, it's the directors that control the company. The ambit of their powers is delineated by the Constitution. The shareholders are not happy, they can fire them, but they have to replace them. Any questions about this? Okay.
Good evening.
Yes?
Good evening. So we are at unit number 7, is that correct?
Yes,
Well,
Ms. Ramos.
Okay. Okay then. All right then.
Okay, but we're about to move on to unit number 8. Not going to stop here. If I've finished unit 7, I'm not going to stop here because unit 8 is quite lengthy. So I just want to get slightly started with it this evening as well. Unit 8.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, did you
8.
promise to give us some practical questions?
Sorry, Ms. Ramos, I didn't hear you now.
Did you promise to give us some practical questions before the test?
No, I didn't promise to give you some practical questions before the test. What I did tell you is if you go on to e-learning, and you have all been added to e-learning, there are worksheets. Under general course documents, there are worksheets with a variety of questions for every unit. With first part of the worksheet are the questions, and then at the back we have suggested answers to the questions in the worksheets. So those are in essence practical questions. what I did say is you have to, as part of your preparation, work through those worksheets. I often use those worksheets when I set your tests. I take questions directly from the worksheets. So they are there for you. On e-learning, get hold of them, work through those questions. I will also, like I did with Introduction to Law, before the test, not now yet, but closer to the test, I will open up a practice quiz for you on e-learning as well, just to practice your multiple choice, because there will obviously be multiple choice questions in the test. Okay, but moving on. Unit 8, we've been talking now about these two organs of a company and the relationship, the balance of power between these two organs. Next thing we look at, next couple of units, is we zoom in on these organs and how they function. Unit 8 is about the shareholders in general meeting. Units 9 and 10 take a closer look to the board of directors. So let's just get started with Unit 8. Just give me a thumbs up if you can see the slide. Okay. So Unit 8, the title of Unit 8 is General Meetings. In the previous unit, I was referring to the shareholders as shareholders in general meeting, because shareholders as a collective make decisions by way of voting at general meetings. And Unit 8 is about meetings, about how these meetings are conducted. Unit 8 is very important, both for practical reasons, because you are accounting students, you're going to be having to organize meetings, etc., etc. Practical reasons, also for assessment purposes. You will always come across plenty of questions about Unit 8. Learning objectives, go back to them. So, general meetings. We get two kinds of general meetings. Those are two types of meetings. You get general meetings, which are attended by all the shareholders, irrespective of their class of shares. And then we can also, if it is necessary in certain instances, get class meetings. Class meetings, exactly what the name says, a meeting attended only by the shareholders of a particular class of shares. Now, all companies have to have at least one meeting a year, in terms of the Companies Act. One, they can have as many as they like, but there must be at least one meeting, which is the annual general meeting. You are welcome. Let's put that in here. To use the abbreviation AGM. Don't have to write out annual general meeting. So once a year, There's a statutory requirement that once a year, this meeting must be held. When must this meeting be held? Now, there are two provisions regarding the timing of this meeting. When must this meeting be held? The Act differentiates between the very first annual general meeting, so after the company has been registered, and then after that, any subsequent annual general meetings. So there's always only ever one first meeting. After that, it will be the second, third, fourth, whatever. Now, the very first meeting must be held within 18 months after the company's registration, within 18 months after date of incorporation. So if I ask you, when must the first meeting be held? You literally, I will then obviously, you can't answer that question if I haven't told you when is the company registered. I'm going to try something here. Just got a blank file here. I'm not going to worry about design or anything. I just want to be able to type. So first, why is it typing backwards? Just bear with me. I'm trying to make this a little bit clearer for you. So the first meeting. If the company let's say the 1st of September, was registered on the 1st of September 2025. Must the first meeting be held? The law says within 18 months after the company's incorporation. So how do you calculate this? You literally count from the 1st of September within 18 months. So from the 1st of September till the 31st of August will be 12 months. And then it's September, October, November, December, January, February. So before the end of February, let's just check the year, in 18 months. So from September 2025 to end of August 2026 is 12 months. So end of February 2027. Do you understand how I got to that date? Were you all with me now? Give me a thumbs up. It's important. I'm going to ask you in the test to determine the date of a meeting. Thank you, Evelina. So the first meeting is easy, 18 months. Thanks you, Mulrose. I need to quickly, I forgot to tell you this. This is important. Unit 8 contains a lot of detail, like these dates, 18 months, etc., 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 etc. You do not have to memorize the detail in Unit 8. For your test, as well as for your exam, I will be giving you a handout which contains certain relevant sections of the Companies Act, including these sections that refer to the timing of annual general meetings, 18 months, etc., etc. I give that to you in your test. So you don't have to memorize that. You can look it up. What I expect from you is to be able to apply this knowledge. So I will not ask you in the test for 1 mark, when must the first annual general meeting of a company be held? And you write the answer within 18 months of its incorporation. You're not going to get that question, because you're going to have a handout which tells you it's within 18 months. And I'm not going to give you marks for reading things off a piece of paper. I will give you, like I just did in the example that we just used in class, I will tell you the company was registered on the 1st of September 2025. When must it hold its first annual general meeting? And you have to count 18 months, and for that you will get the marks. Are you with me on that regard? So Unit 8, no memorization, application.
Sorry, ma'am.
Yes, Wilika?
Oh, so it's only the month that matters for the first general meetings, or the days also?
No, the days I won't require you to. I normally, okay, I said 31st. I normally make it as easy as possible. So I'll always choose a date at the beginning of the month or the end of the month. I'll always choose the first day or the last day. I won't say it was registered on the 13th of September, so you need to know it has to be before the 12th of February. I make it easier. You just have to count the months, if you understand what I mean.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. So it's the month and, of course, the year as well. Is it 2026, 2027, whatever? That's also important. But the exact day, I don't worry about. I keep it a little bit more vague than that. Okay, let's just get back to my slides. Any further meeting after the first meeting? Subsequent annual general meetings must be held, and there's 2 provisions. And you're always going to have to calculate each of them and then take the earliest. Subsequent annual general meetings no later than 9 months after the end of each financial year, but still within 15 months of the date of the preceding annual general meeting. I'm going to put another new slide in here so that I can illustrate this for you. Let's copy and paste. So how does this work? Let's do this, do an example. No later than 9 months after the end of each financial year. So let's say, as an example, I tell you that the meeting was held on, I always take the last day of the month, 31, no, September only has 30 days, 30 September 2024. I'll give you that date. When must the next meeting be held? Now you have to calculate. The first provision says no later than 9 months after the end of each financial year. Unless I tell you otherwise, as accountants, as budding accountants, you should know that a company's annual financial year ends at the end of February every year. So there was a meeting on the 30th of September 2024. When is the next financial year end after the meeting? Come, you need to work with me here. There was a meeting on the last day of September of 2024. When is the next financial year end following this meeting?
So it's February 2025.
Sorry, Rana, just repeat that.
5 months, February 2025, it's 5 months. At the end
No,
of
we're not
February
talking.
20.
No, we're not talking about 5 months now. You're not listening to my question. I asked you, there was a meeting on the 30th of September. When is the next financial year end after this meeting?
It's February
End of February. End of February when? What year?
2025.
Perfect. Thank you, Rona. So the next financial year end sorry, that didn't work. It's a bit tricky to copy and paste in PowerPoint. So no later than 9 months after the end of each financial year. So no later than 9 months after, when does the next financial year end? As Rana said, end of February. After this meeting, the meeting was 2024. So end of February 2025. No later than 9 months, so you count 9 months after the end of February. So it's March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. But then you have to also look at the second, you can't ignore that. You have to always calculate both of the date of the preceding annual general meeting. So we had that provision. It has to be still within 15 months of the date of the preceding annual general meeting, which was 30 September 2024. So you count 15 months from 30 September 2024. So 12 months, that's a year. So 30 September 2025 is 12 months, 13 months, 14 months, 15 months, September, October, November, December. So that gets us to end of December 2025. When must this meeting be held? You take the earlier of those two dates. When must the meeting be held? You've calculated both of them. You take the earlier of the two dates, namely before the end of November 2025. So if they had a meeting on the 30th of September 2024, the next one has to be held then before the end of November 2025. Is everybody with me?
No, ma'am, I don't understand.
Rushay, where did I lose you?
Ma'am, you lost me at the first one where it says it should be within, what is it, 19 months? And if excuse me?
No, sorry, carry on talking.
And if I count, the previous one was September as well, and September to September is 12 months, right? Now, after
Yes.
the 12 months, then we still have, like, if I count, I come up to, is it March? But then I don't understand how it's supposed to be counted, ma'am, because I count up to the exact, that even now with the 15 months, I counted up to December, but then you said it should be before the end of November. What happens to the extra month that stands out?
Because there are two provisions here. There are two provisions. The Companies Act says that subsequent annual general meetings must be held no later than 9 months after the end of each financial year, but still within 15 months of the date of the preceding annual general meeting. So there are two requirements: 9 months after the end of the financial year and 15 months after the previous meeting. And you have to calculate both of these in order to see when this meeting must be held. How did I get to end of November? Because if there was a meeting on the 30th of September, the next financial year end following 30 September 2024 is February 2025. So 9 months after February 2025 gets you to the end of November 2025. But still within 15 months of the date of the preceding annual general meeting, so 15 months after 30 September 2024, gets us end of December 2025, and then you take the earlier of those two dates. With me, Roche?
Yes, ma'am. I've actually realized when you read the two conditions again that there's keywords that I didn't see. Like
Okay,
with the first
fine.
one, at 9 months, I've actually realized that it says end of each financial year.
Always read carefully, but I'm glad we clarified it. Okay, wonderful. So we can move on. Everybody else who's always, if you're not sure, always don't hesitate to ask, so that we can explain. Now we're all back on the same page again. So back to my original slide. I started off by telling you that a company must have an annual general meeting every year. They must have at least one meeting every year. That's what I started off telling you. I lied to you. I did not tell you the truth. Because the Companies Act provides that a company does not have to hold an annual general meeting if all the members that are entitled to attend this meeting have agreed to this in writing. Not 90% of the members, not 75% of the members, every single one of them. Obviously, your common sense is going to tell you that in a company, a public company that has got 200, 300, 400 shareholders, it's not going to happen that every single member is going to consent in writing that the company does not have to hold an annual general meeting. In your smaller private companies, if Velika, Julius, Rauna, and Roche are my 4 shareholders, and they are also the 4 directors, so they know what's going on in the company. The Companies Act will allow then they don't have to have a special meeting where they tell themselves what they did during the past year. So then they can agree and just file a consent at the Registrar of Companies that they have agreed not to have an annual general meeting. Larger companies where there's a more obvious separation in powers between ownership and control, company must have an annual general meeting because it is the one occasion where the shareholders have the opportunity to hold the directors accountable. Annual financial statements are presented at the annual general meeting. Directors are reappointed, auditors are reappointed. It is the opportunity for the directors to confirm to the shareholders that they are looking after their property in a proper manner. Notice before the meeting, 21 days notice in writing. Get back to notice periods. Okay, those are my 2 slides that I used to illustrate. Okay, this is an appropriate place then for me to stop. Go back to your notes. I've checked since in the meantime, there are hard copies of the study guide available at the printers if you want to get yourself a hard copy of the study guide. Otherwise, the soft copy is on e-learning. The PowerPoint slides are on e-learning. The worksheets are on e-learning. Go through all of that. And I will then, as confirmed in the beginning of this class, move your test 1 to Friday, the following Friday when you are available, so that there are not clashes. Please reserve that Friday You can't come to me now later and say, but must we have a test? I made the,
Asked that. Which Friday is that? The exact date?
it was discussed on the group. Let me just get that for you quickly. It's the week after the test was originally going to be. Where is my group now? Friday, the 29th of August.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 22nd. All right.
No, Friday, I'm going to just put it here on the WhatsApp chat again, 29th of August at 17:30.
Ma'am, does that only apply for the part-time students?
That is strictly for the part-time. It is for the part-time students only. The full-time test will continue as indicated in the course outline. I can't move the part-time test to the following week because there are 2 public holidays and it's cultural festival, and you're not allowed to write tests during the daytime if it's cultural festival.
So, Miss, can you please share the WhatsApp link on Teams? I want to join.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Can you please share the WhatsApp group link on Teams? I want to join.
Yeah, I have problems doing that. I will try my best. Yeah, I should be able to do it. I'll make a plan. I have problems accessing the group link on my laptop because I use WhatsApp on my laptop. And I don't have Teams on my phone, so I have to get it from my phone to my laptop. But I'll make a plan. I will make a plan for you. Okay.
Okay, please,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you very much. Velika, do you have more questions?
I know, Miss. I was just asking for the WhatsApp group link also because I joined late.
Okay, I'll try my best. Thank you. Bye.